In the meantime, I want to talk to you about, oh, you guys are there. Good. Oh, good. I'm starting to see people show up on the Facebook Live. I'm seeing people showing up on the webinar jam. We had a little, for those of you who didn't see, we had a technical difficulty. We had to restart the webinar jam. So I'm Teresa Harding. I'm a founding presidential diamond with doTERRA. And you guys, I have been so excited about this training. We had 3,000 people sign up for this training in just a matter of 3 weeks. We didn't even advertise. And that tells you how important it is for people to know about placements. The reason, why are you here? You guys know why you're here. It's because placements is such a tricky thing. And a lot of times you're building your business, trying to do what the big leaders are teaching you about placements, trying to figure it out sometimes on your own. Then you get to a place where you go, oh my goodness, I just figured out if I hadn't done that placement decision way back when, now I wouldn't be having this problem now. So we've been asking some of the people who've signed up for this course. We were wondering, what rank are you? How long have you been in doTERRA? Some of the feedback we're getting shows us that we have a range. We have people all the way from brand new beginning and people who've been in doTERRA for a long time, all the way to really high ranking leaders. So I'm really excited about this. There's a lot of information out there on placements, but placements is so inclusive that it is hard to cover everything. So for example, if I try, oh good, getting lots of love. Okay, obviously the feed is working. Thank you for that. And I just have to tell you guys, I am grateful for you because I have been looking forward to this for a while. I'm excited. I've never done a mentoring program like this over a period of weeks with a large group of people. So, and it's a little bit time consuming. So I was glad I got such a good response, and it feels like, okay, then, then it's worth it. It's something that people are wanting. So that's nice to know. But yesterday was a hot mess day. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. It wasn't about this at all. It was just life. And everything was going wrong. And by halfway through the day, I felt like I need to give up. And so of course I'm not going to give up. And we always teach people, you're not allowed to give up on a bad day. Well, yesterday was a bad day. It was a hot mess day. And I was in tears. Roger was loving me. And so I'll just tell you, it was nice to have something to look forward to, and getting all of that love on there on Facebook with the hearts. And it's funny how that just makes you go, oh, so thank you. Okay, I'm going to give you an overview of what this is going to be. We are going to cover placements in depth. So we might even cover stuff that you're going, Kate, I don't even know how that's relevant, but I will show you how it is relevant. We are going to go over an overview of placements. We're going to talk just a little bit about some of the things in the compensation plan. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I need you guys to understand why these decisions make a difference. So, and another thing we're going to cover today, what I want to cover is that information. I'm going to go over what we're going to cover over the next 7 weeks. And if we need to add an 8th week, I will do that. We are recording these, and people have been asking me, so are you going to put these out? Are you going to make them available? Are we going to be able to see them? Let me tell you what's going to happen. I am going to let anybody who is enrolled for this course, you get to have access to it. Every video we do every week, you get to watch it. I'm going to leave it up in a private place. We might decide to put it on the Facebook group. If we can do that, that's how we'll do it. But if we have to set up another way because these videos are longer, we'll figure that out and we'll let you know. So watch your emails, but I'm going to leave these available for you for the next 7 weeks, and I will leave all of them available until a week after the last class. Okay. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I understand that some people work at night. Some people have schools. Sometimes, there are family activities. I don't want you to have to miss out just because you're putting your priorities in the right order. So I'm going to make them available to you. I've had a lot of people asking, can I please still sign up? Can I please still sign up? I think we forgot to turn off the sign up because we need to know how many people are going to be here. We need to make sure that the venue we're using can handle this many people. And so that's been fine. But I've had so many people saying, is it too late? Is it too late? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give your people 1 more week. But if this isn't, we're not advertising this to everybody. This was only for the people who came to that event at convention, the day before convention, this is for you and it's for your teams. So this isn't something you go put out for everybody. I was trying to give you guys something special. If you still have people on your team that you would like to invite who still want to be involved, now that they know maybe that they don't like it. I've had some people say, well, I didn't sign up because some of those nights I can't do. And so if the fact that they get to watch it at whatever time, that makes a difference, then I want them to be able to take advantage of this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them till the end of the week, but there is one stipulation. If you go to these people and tell them you can still sign up, then you need to give them a requirement. I want you to give them the requirement that they have to watch this one before the next week starts, okay? So I'm going to give them until 24 hours before the next training starts. When we're 24 hours away from that training, then I'm going to cut off any signups and we won't allow any more of the rest of the 7 weeks, okay? Now, the other thing people have been asking me, are we going to be able to put this up somewhere? Are you going to put the recordings up on YouTube or wherever? That is not the plan right now, because I will tell you right now, I am going to be raw. I am going to tell you stuff that maybe people don't always talk about. I'm going to answer your questions about your teams. Now, I have to wait till we're done and make sure that I check everything for compliance. I don't know that we'll be able to post these. If we discover that we can after the courses are done, then I am happy to do that. But I can't commit to that until we get a little closer and see what's going on, okay? So let me go over what we're going to cover in all of these 7 courses. Number 1, we're going to talk about, and like I said, an overview of placements. We're going to talk about mindset. Today we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about the process of going through what you're going to have to go through emotionally, honestly, because it's a big deal. You guys know, any of you who've been in very long, it's a roller coaster, and there are days when it is really hard if you have placed wrong. And sometimes you feel like you have to start all over. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I am going to talk about a little bit about why these problems happen. I'm also going to cover every single training that I can think of that I have seen that leaders are doing about placements. I'm going to talk about the different strategies people are teaching you to use, and I'm going to show you the pros and cons. Now, what we used to do is we used to say, you guys, if you do this, don't do it that way. This is what's going to happen. And I've realized, you know what? This is a process. The people who are teaching these things, it's because that's what they know so far. And I don't mean to say that like I know everything. I don't know everything, but I will tell you, I have seen so much. Most of the reasons that doTERRA has to change the compensation plan or change rules or they change it so that we can have wholesale customers, or they change the way the accounts work or how the payment plan works. In fact, every single one of those are because of things that happened on my team. And I was usually completely involved and knew exactly what was happening in the process. So I've seen a lot, you guys. I've made a lot of mistakes. We, at the beginning, didn't know some of the stuff that we know now. And now we are figuring that out. So the way I like to teach it now, instead of discounting things that you're seeing out there, is teach you what people are teaching, show you some of the strategies people are saying are good, but I want to show you the pros and cons. I want to show you, if you do this, this is why people are doing this, and these are the benefits you get. But if you do this, look at the cons. These are the things that you're also going to have as consequences, and a lot of times people don't even know that yet. I want you to think of it like a chess game. A chess game is pretty complicated. It's not like checkers. Checkers, yes, you need to think so many steps ahead. But chess, why do you think those chess players sit there forever looking at the board and nobody can talk? Nobody can talk. And they sit there looking at the board because they're trying to decide how to move. They're not just deciding for the next move. They're deciding for that move plus 20, 40 moves down the road. If you read chess books, what they do is they teach you a strategy that teaches you what your first move should be based on what's going to happen at the very last move of the game, so that they can play it all out in their minds. Well, we aren't perfect at this. but we have gotten darn good, you guys. And so I want to protect you. I want to make sure that you guys understand the best that you can, because what happens is a lot of times people who are new, they'll place certain ways. Then they get a little bit more grown in doTERRA. They've seen more, they've ranked more, and they've had a lot more experience. And then they start teaching a different way and they go, oh my goodness, I learned that this is how you do it. But they still haven't seen the end of the chess game. So a lot of times you're hearing people give all these placement strategies, which in a certain situation actually might be the best choice. But there are about 90 other situations where that might not be the best choice. So my goal is not to discount anyone or their training. You can tell I'm passionate about it, and I will be passionate about it. So hopefully you won't hate me by the time we're done. And hopefully for those of you who are watching who do teach some of these other strategies, I hope that you don't hate me by the time we're done. I love you guys. I am doing this because, oh my goodness, I'm crying on a placements training for real. I'm doing this because I have been through those consequences. I've seen my leaders suffer through that, and we have taught people how to do it better. I want you guys to be able to do it better than the way we did it. And I'll tell you what, my income is massive. I am one of the top money earners in doTERRA. Besides Justin, I should be the second top money earner because our team is so massive. But I think I'm the third or fourth. And the reason is because guess what? I made mistakes at the beginning. My income would be 1.5 times more than it is. Now, am I sorry? No. Am I complaining? No. I love my team. I've learned so much. And in fact, in mindset, in just a minute, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But if I can teach you how to do this in a way that makes it so you don't have to have that, so you can maximize the best of the most of everything doTERRA has to offer, that's what I get excited about. And I will tell you, the top money earner, I hope you don't mind me saying this, Natalie and Andy Goddard are top money earners in doTERRA. And their team is one of the most massive. Patrick and Elise Chedevi, the highest ranking leaders in doTERRA. You guys, these are people that I have trained. I didn't need to train them very long. And do you think I learned a lot from them too? Absolutely. But guess what? When we were training them, we had learned some things about placements. So we have taught them how to do it better. And then they've helped us perfect that process, of course, from the day they've been involved. But there's a reason that they are set up so well. There's a reason they know how to rank advance. And I'm going to teach you what those are. And we learn more all the time. So now let me finish going over what we're going to cover. So today, you know what we're going to cover. Talk about mindset, talk about some of the strategies people are showing, and a little bit of things about the compensation plan that will help you understand later why that placement strategy might be a benefit or not. Okay, so that's today. My goal by the end of this is not that you have placements training and now you need to keep getting somebody to help you make decisions about placements. Of course, we're happy to help you make decisions about placements, but my goal is that by the time we're done, you will understand enough about placements that you can go, oh my goodness, for this specific situation on my team, this is what's going to be best. Over here, no way, no way. People say do this every time, not for this situation. You will know exactly what to do. Okay. Now for the next coming weeks, next week we're going to be talking about the biggest mistakes people make and the different ways they make them. I'm going to go into detail about that. The next 3 weeks after that, we're going to talk about what you can do to totally fix the problem. And there are several strategies. I'm going to steal, what do you call it? What's it called? Like a title from Elise Chedevi. She has her mind-blowing strategies for hitting rank. I am telling you, the strategies I'm going to show you are mind-blowing strategies for fixing the problems on your team. Okay, so thanks, Elise, for that awesome title. Then after those 3 weeks, I am going to show you a problem team. We're going to go over a problem team. So this will be week 6. We're going to go over a problem team, and I'm going to have a problem team ready for you that has just about every problem I can think of that we have dealt with, that people on my team have dealt with, everything. things that, so that hopefully everything you guys are dealing with will be in that problem team. And it will include some good things. How many of you have a strong leg? If you've been doing it for a little while, you have one strong leg and you keep thinking, oh, I wish I could find another strong leg. Then you get the second strong leg and you go, oh, if I could, I have two legs that are fine. If I could just, that third leg, I just keep having trouble with it. You guys, this is across the board. So I'm going to create this team, and actually Roger's helping me. He is amazing. I'm pointing over there because he's back up right now, just ready to, he's totally helping with this. And so we're going to go over those problems. We're going to fix it together. After I have shown you the strategies, you guys are going to help me fix those problems. Okay. Now, the last week, this is what's going to happen. I have a, what would you call it? Kind of a guideline for you. So I'm going to let you create your own plan, and I'm going to help you do it. Now, there are 3,000 people, so we'll get questions and things like that. But by the time you are done with that 7th class, you are going to have your plan telling exactly what needs to happen on your team so that you know how to fix those problems. I am super excited about it. We do this with our leaders and it works. It's awesome. So I'll give you an example of how much of a difference this can make. We had somebody on our team who was struggling at gold, struggling to hit gold. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they didn't. They were frustrated. They felt like their team was a hot mess. In a lot of ways, it totally was. And so as they were taught these strategies that I'm going to teach you and showed you how to do placements, she was taught how to do this. And she came up with her plan. She treated it like a chess game. Okay, if I use this strategy here, and I use this strategy here, and over here I can do this strategy, then by the time she was done, she had about 12 different steps, things that she needed to do, that if she did those 12 steps, this isn't even growth on her team. This is just using these strategies to fix the problems. She would be almost blue diamond, almost blue from gold, because we could get things set up properly. So I'm telling you guys, this will be huge for many of you. And what'll happen is some of you will find that you only have 3 steps. There are only, as we look at your team and we figure things out, there are only 3 steps, things that you need to do to fix those problems. Now, those of you who've seen placement training, probably I would say the most advanced teachers are Molly Dayton is amazing at this. Elise Shudevy is amazing at this. There are other people who teach great things too, but these guys are probably the ones who understand it the very most. Well, what happens is when we train this, like I said, we don't always have enough time to cover it in depth. So even if you've seen our trainings before, those of you who were at my Oregon event, we had a lot of people there. We are going to be able to answer questions and go way more in depth. That's why I'm doing it this way. I seriously was saying to Roger, I said, I have to do 8 weeks. And he said, 8 weeks, that's way too long. People will not want that many weeks. I said, Roger, I am telling you, if we do 8 weeks, we'll be able to cover everything. And so he thought we should do 6. This is why we're doing 7. This is our compromise. So we're doing 7 with the caveat that if we need more time, we will. Because maybe you guys will decide, hey, I'd like 1 more week, and we'll get on and we just get to ask you about our teams. You just look at our teams and help us fix our stuff, help us answer the questions. Happy to do that. I'm not doing more than 8. We'll do 8. We'll stop at 8. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a good idea of what we're going to cover. Hopefully this will be worth your time. I'm so excited about it. And I will say that so many times. And please, please forgive me if I get so passionate and I act like you have to do this. Just realize that comes from love. It comes from a place of, I've been there, and let me save you from doing what I did, or what, you know, I've seen some of my leaders do, or whatever. So first, let's talk about mindset. For mindset, this is the problem. As we start talking about the mistakes people make, and by the way, I will just interrupt myself one more time. At the training the day before convention, there are a few things I did cover really quickly. We just had a half-hour class. I've decided, at first I thought I'll just go on from there, and then I thought, no. There are 3,000 people. At that event, there were 900. That means there are so many people who weren't at that event, and I figured for your teams, you would rather they hear it right from the very beginning. So we are going to cover everything step by step. So you guys, you have got to be prepared that you even if you made mistakes, that's okay. It's a learning and a growing process. This is what happens as you are growing in your business, as you make decisions, you have to look at things like, was it Einstein? Roger, help me out. Was it Einstein that said, no, not Einstein. It was, who's the guy who did the light bulb? Edison. Edison said, I didn't make 1,000 mistakes. Making the light bulb was a process. I am so emotional, I guess, because I'm so excited, and I'm hopeful this will help you. But he said, Edison said that the light bulb was not 1,000 mistakes. It was a process that took 1,000 steps. So he didn't look at it as a failure. That's how you need to look at this, you guys. What you've done on your team so far, it's not a failure. You made mistakes. Well, let's admit it. That's fine. But this is a process, and we learn as we go, and we learn as we grow. Okay? And this allows us to help make it better for you. And I'm teaching placements all the time. I'm working with groups, smaller groups all the time. But I've never done something this massive. I keep thinking I need to get videos up on YouTube so that people can understand it a little bit better. And so now finally we're doing that. Thanks to you guys, you're helping make that happen. So let me see. If you guys are on the Facebook group, it's live on Facebook. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm checking some of your comments. Chelsea and Jake, these guys are my virtual assistants today. Would you guys just make sure that you're watching those comments? Make sure that Roger is apprised if there's anything I need to know, so that I won't keep stopping and looking, and be a little bit quicker and maybe even a little more professional. So what I want to tell you is attitude. You guys, be prepared. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to be discouraged. And honestly, when I teach this, by the time you're done with the second class today and the next one next week, after we talk about all the mistakes that people make, I seriously have people coming to me sobbing. Some people crying, some people just, a little bit emotional. I am not kidding you. When we teach at retreats, people come up to me sobbing, saying, I have to start all over. They're diamond, and they're saying, I have to start all over. My team is all messed up. I did everything wrong. Okay, just wait, and just trust me. I'm going to teach you how to fix it, and I will teach you how to fix it from where you are right now. I will also tell you something. I've never seen somebody's team who is more of a mess than mine was. And I'll tell you why mine was such a mess. Because I wasn't even trying to place properly. I was so busy trying to pretend like I was not doing network marketing, because I hated network marketing, that if I helped people with oils, I loved helping people with oils. If I helped them, well, I was not going to try to even find out about placements, because then that would mean that I'm trying to make money off of them. So you guys, I've learned, okay? So there was a time where I literally, and I'm not exaggerating, I had more than 50 people in my downline that were treating me like a direct front line. I was training them personally as if they were a frontline person. These are builders who totally wanted to build. This isn't me trying to get shares to do more. This was builders who needed help because I had placed improperly, okay? So just know that there is hope. You guys, so much of doTERRA is on our team. I can see in our downline, I can see almost everything that's going on, because over 70% is down there. So just know, I've seen so many mistakes, and no one's has been as bad as mine. So hopefully that will give you hope and help you realize that it's okay. It's okay. You really can do this. So just go through the process. We'll figure this out together. Now, I'm going to start off, and maybe I purposely do things that make you feel like, yikes, I did it all wrong, but it's because I want to help you realize, if you don't really recognize, wow, that was a mistake, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to do it again. You will do it again. So at first, I want to make it super clear. You have got to take accountability. If there's ever a time that you are looking at your team, you've got your leaders in your structure, and you're going, well, this leg isn't advancing because that person won't do what they said they were going to do. If that is you, stop it right now. Stop it. And I don't know if you're on here. I won't say your name because I don't know if you'd want me to, but I had the most tender experience at convention. I had a girl come up to me who started sobbing when she met me. And I'm not going to apologize again for crying, okay? She was so moved, and she said it was because I was so sassy on those videos. I said, quit blaming people. And she said it changed her. It changed her. It changed her business. She looked at things differently. So that made me more determined because I was worried. Am I going to hurt your feelings? I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to offend you. I want to do whatever's going to help. But I will tell you this. doTERRA's compensation plan works exactly the way it's supposed to. It works exactly the way it was set up to work. So whatever problems you have on your team, it's working that way because you set it up to work that way. And that's actually a beautiful thing. Why is that? Because if it's your fault that those problems are happening, then you can fix it. If it's not your fault and it's because the compensation plan is random and we don't ever know how it's going to turn out, then guess what? There's nothing we can do about it. We just have to plug people in and do the best we can and hope. We actually don't have to do that. And people say, yeah, but you never know what someone's going to do. You don't know. They say they're going to build and then they don't. Well, I will tell you, I'm going to teach you some ways that will seriously increase your likelihood of success and eliminate 90% of the chance of you having to deal with some of this stuff. And if you don't believe me, you are going to be a believer by the time we're done. This is from experience. This is from working with the top leaders in the company. So just remember, every single issue is your fault. If you catch yourself blaming anybody else, stop it right now. And it might be a process. You might not be, it might be too hard to do it right now. You might be able to go, okay, fine, I'll stop blaming people, but this situation really is their fault. I will tell you every level, and it's interesting, it went along with ranks. Every level where I learned a new skill set as a leader, it's almost like you hit, even times when I was moving really fast, I wasn't able to move up to the next level in leadership, in rank, until I started gaining these leadership skills. And what was interesting is every time those new leadership skills included things that had to do with me taking responsibility, things that I had blamed my leaders for, or that I felt like, okay, yeah, I did this, but look at what they did. And it changes everything, you guys. I had a girl come up to me, a different girl come up to me at convention. She was actually at Elise's mind-blowing strategy event, and I was there, and I helped with one of the classes, and we ended up talking out in the hallway for a while. And she was sharing with me a problem that she had in a relationship, and she saw both sides. And she said, what do I do about this? And I thought, you know what? If it was me and somebody's all nice and, you know, trying to tread lightly, that doesn't help me. I said, do you want to hear it blunt? Do you want to hear something that will help you be effective? Or do you just want something that will make you feel better? And she said, and she, you know, maybe a little worry in her eyes, maybe not. You'll have to tell me later. You might be on here. But she said, no, call it like it is. Tell me. And I said, this is your fault. I said, look at what you're doing. You're doing this and this and this. And then I gave her, hopefully, lots of love. I gave her lots of love and said, look at, you are amazing. You can accomplish this and this and this, but look at what you're doing. You're wallowing in the mud right here. We had a tough conversation. And she was, by the time we were done, she was crying, I was crying. And I was like, get a grip and quit blaming and start taking accountability for your team. And she just came to me, I think she was silver at that time, and it was not that many months ago. She came to me at convention, she said, I just hit diamond. And she said, I did exactly what you said. And when we were talking, she said, I want you to write me a letter that every time I start wanting to blame and every time I start having issues, that I can look back at this letter you wrote me. So she gave me her notebook that she was taking notes in for that event. And she said, write me a letter. And so in the letter, the first thing I wrote, because we had some funny laughs about, stop it, you know, stop doing that. And the first thing I wrote was, in all capitals, I said, stop being stupid. And then gave her some love and talked and gave her some motivational stuff to keep doing it and not give up taking this new route. I'm telling you, I can't talk enough about taking responsibility. So if you are ready to stop blaming people, I promise you, you will come up with better solutions and chess moves in this strategy session that we're talking about than you will be able to come up with if you're still blaming. Because if you're still blaming, what's going to happen is you'll look at that person and you'll go, yeah, but I can't do that because she won't this. Or he said he was going to build and he won't, so now I'm stuck. You know what? You are never stuck. If you truly understand placements, you're never stuck. I am never stuck. I might be discouraged sometimes, like yesterday. I might be tired. I might be lazy, but I am never stuck. And I'll tell you, there are 3 things that if you know how to do these 3 things, you will rank advance. Your team will grow fast. And it is this: if you know how to recruit, if you really, really know how to recruit, if you know how to place people, really, really know how to place and understand when you should use certain strategies, and if you know how to teach a class, really teach a really good class. And I'll tell you, if you don't know those things, I'll tell you, I was gonna save this, but I'll tell you right now, I have a surprise for you guys. It'll be ready before the end of this 7-week session, where I am doing some trainings that will be available to you for free that teach those things. I am telling you, because the reality is, guess what? The things we're gonna talk about today, where people say, oh, you have to place like this, but it's actually a chess move that isn't looking into the future 10 moves. Many of those things, the bottom line is you're making those choices because you're afraid. Because you're afraid you won't find a builder. You are afraid because you don't feel like you know how to recruit. Can you imagine if you knew you could find a builder this week if you really wanted one? Would you be placing the same way you're placing now? No. So we're going to talk about some of those today, okay? So if you knew how to do that, it would be huge. And I am doing, so what I've done is I've created some videos for you, and I won't tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about it later, but I'll just tell you this. Those 3 videos are included. Well, placements is not included. I'm not done with that one yet, but you're getting that here. But how to recruit, exactly how to recruit, step by step, exactly what to say. Okay, and as I have been teaching this on my team, we've been doing it for a while now, and guess what? Guess what we used to hear from people, which I know, I'm sure some of you feel this. You feel like recruiting is the hardest thing. How do I find people? You know, I'm getting, even those of you who aren't afraid to talk to people about the oils, I still hear from a lot of you that, you know, I enroll people, but I don't have any builders. If you have trouble finding builders when you need them, then guess what? There's a fear in placements, or maybe you're just not sure what to do. You might not be afraid, you might be out there doing whatever, but you don't have the exact tools or the skill set. I'm gonna give you that skill set, and the leaders that we've been teaching now, guess what happens? I have, for example, one of my leaders just told me recently, there are a couple of girls on her team, young girls who just started doTERRA, and she taught them how to recruit the way that we're teaching. And what we usually hear is, oh, that's so hard, what do I do? What do I say? That's the part that scares people the most. These 2 girls, they said, you know, as she does her strategy sessions with these leaders, what's happening is these girls are going, oh my goodness, I love recruiting. They don't call it that. They call it what we call it in the video, which I'll share with you when we do the video, but that's recruiting. They don't even think of it as recruiting, but they see this is the funnest part. This is the most fun part of everything we do in doTERRA. So if you know how to do it in a way that you're like, that's the funnest part, that is the part I like the most, can you imagine what we can accomplish? And you'll quit placing in ways that compensate for the lack of that skill. So I'm really excited about that. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? When you are placing, you want to place in a way that helps you, but you also want to place in a way that helps your leaders. If I'm placing in a way that only helps me, yes, I need 3 silvers to hit platinum. I need 6 platinums to hit presidential. But if all I care about is me and the leaders that help me, then your team will not be as stable. So what's interesting is the way doTERRA set this up, the beauty of it is the more you help your leaders in the right way, not just because you have a good heart and you want to help, that's great. We can do that all day long. But if we can do that and maximize the compensation plan, why not do both? Let me give you an example with my husband. My husband's a dentist. And what happens if he just gives everybody free dental work? Then number 1, he can't provide for his family. Number 2, he can't pay his bills. He won't be able to keep being a dentist because he can't afford the tools and the things that he needs to be able to help people as a dentist, can he? But, and in fact, when he first got out of dentist school, that was our attitude. Okay, we're gonna help people every day. He's gonna let people in who can't afford to pay and who, you know, maybe we do discounts and all this stuff. That's a beautiful thing. I'm not saying don't do that, but listen, you have to do it in the right way. So luckily we had a mentor who was wise about this, and he taught us, you don't do that. What you do is Monday through Friday, you run your business like crazy, awesome business person. You know what your fees should be. You make sure that everything's taken care of. You can provide for your family. You can provide for your office. You can make sure you pay your employees. Everything is organized and taken care of. And then if you want to take a day a week or a day a month or a half day every Friday, whatever you want, then you can say, okay, during these hours, that's when I get to serve in a bigger way, in a more giving way. That's great. Doesn't mean you're not serving all the other people that came to your practice, all the patients before. We're going to be helping everybody, but we need to do it in the right way. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what some of the different trainings are teaching out there. All right, so hopefully this is going to be big enough for you guys to be able to see. One of the things that people teach is, and again, I'm not going to discount them. I'm going to show you the different reasons why they matter. So first, I'll show you some of the ones that people are teaching, and then you guys throw out, if there are others that I haven't seen or thought of that you'd like me to address, then as I show these, if you think of others, then put them in the comments, and my virtual assistants will help make sure that I get those. But one thing is, people will teach to build down like this. Some people teach to build down really deep. Some people teach don't go too deep, but they basically are teaching go down like this. And then anyone, and I'm simplifying because some people teach build down like this, and then anybody who wants to build, then let's say this person decides to build, now you've got a builder and that can be your qualifying leg. Some people teach, well, find the closest person to a builder you can find, put it here, and then let them find a builder and put that here, and then, start putting people underneath here, and then start building deep. So there are different versions of building deep, but a lot of people will teach to do this. And so keep that in mind, because I'm going to show you the pros and cons and why this is, there are some good things, there's some cons, but what if there's a better way? What if there's an even better way if you really knew how to do this? Okay. Another thing that people are teaching is they teach to build to premier. They say get 2 legs and then have everybody do 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. There are definite benefits to that. Some people say to do this, and I'm going to show you some of the reasons why it's good, but some of the consequences that you'll deal with, and sometimes why those choices are being made, and there might be some ways we can make better choices. So this is the other thing I want to be really clear about. In a certain situation, this might be the perfect thing. In a certain situation, this might be the perfect thing. There are some general things that are better overall, that are kind of the best practices overall, and then in a specific situation, you might need to do something a little bit differently because you've already got something going, or because of a certain situation that you have, you might kind of have to finagle something for a minute, and then you've got it figured out, okay? But for example, another thing that people are teaching is they say have a placeholder. So I'm going to keep flipping this as we go. So people call it a ghost or a placeholder. They say if you don't have a business builder, then put a placeholder right here, what that means, or a ghost. Some people call it a ghost. What the placeholder is that is somebody who they say sign up your mom, sign up your grandma. So if this is grandma, she doesn't really want to build doTERRA, but you don't have a builder yet. So what they're saying is put her here. She has agreed that she'll sell that spot whenever you need her to sell it. And then you are building underneath here. Okay. There are pros and cons to that. And by the way, let me help you understand something. For you to have a vested interest in 2 accounts is totally illegal. Okay. So just be very, very careful about that. I'm going to show you the pros and cons. And even if you even think about doing something like this, number one, you are getting really close to the line of being illegal. It is illegal unless there are certain things in place, which I will talk about in the future trainings. So just understand, we are going to cover everything I can think of. Okay. Let's see, throw in your comments if there are other things that you can think of. There are a lot of different trainings out there, but ultimately they're talking about this and they're talking about this, different versions of the 2 by 2 Wow, I thought, I'm not going to use a whiteboard because this will be faster, but maybe a whiteboard would have been faster. They're talking about different variations of these ultimately, okay? Oh, one other strategy I just remembered is people will say, put all the wellness advocates on your front, or sorry, put all the wholesale customers on your front line, because if somebody decides to build, can you guys see that? Let me make sure, yeah. If one of these decides to build, then guess what happens? What happens is, now you can say, oh, okay, this one is building, they're the builder, and now I'm gonna ask all these people to change their account. I'll say, hey, we're restructuring some things on the team. You can, if you'll go in and change your account to instead of a wholesale customer to be a wellness advocate, then we'll give you a free bottle of essential oil or something like that. And most people will do that, that's fine. Some people won't. There are some cons, and there are other cons, by the way, which we'll talk about. And then they can put all these people, because they changed their accounts, they put all these people underneath the builder now, okay? And this is a strategy. There's a better way. I'm gonna teach you a better way. There might be a situation where it might be useful to put a wholesale customer on your front line, but not a bunch across your front line. So people started realizing that this isn't the greatest, because now that volume isn't counting toward your legs. And so so now kind of the newer thing is people are saying, telling you guys, I've seen it all. Newer thing that they're saying is, instead of putting all the wholesale customers on your front line, find somebody that is hopefully going to be a builder, or that is a builder, or whatever, you've got your builder, and then try to put those, like maybe have a little bit going on, and try to put those wholesale customers down on this level. I've heard people say put them all down on the third level. I've heard people say put them on the fifth level. I've heard a lot of different things, and they'll give you a lot of good reasons why. But we're going to cover all of this stuff, you guys, and I'm super excited for you to see. So again, I hope I don't offend anybody that is teaching these things. I just want you to see all the sides of the coin, because this is what I've discovered. We've had people who hit presidential. They'll hit presidential even fast, and they'll teach people, hey, this is how you do it. This is how I did it. And everybody sees, wow, they're presidential, and it hit so fast that must be the way. But they're still in the middle of the chess game. Well, presidential might be near the end of the chess game, but that's not the end of the chess game. Because you know that as soon as you hit rank, guess what happens now? Now you've got to stabilize. And I've seen these people have to prop and fill black holes and do different things based on how it was structured to start with. Now, to make my point even stronger, let me start with this. You're like, hey, you've been going for 45 minutes. This isn't starting. Okay, I know, it's not starting. This is the deal. I want to show you what happens with your income in doTERRA. And some of you may have seen this. If this is you, then, in fact, let me stop for just a second. Hey, Roger, are we getting feedback of anything I need to respond to, or? Okay.
No, I don't have the questions. If you want questions, we can, I'm sure.
Well, no, yeah, we'll start questions in just a minute. Start thinking of your questions. I'm totally going to open it up to questions. We had a problem with the technical stuff to let people ask their questions audibly. So we're going to have you raise your hand on the side and ask your question there. So be prepared for that. Start writing down your questions and get them ready. But let me show you what happens. If this is you, and you have a diamond on your front line, a solid diamond, do you know how much you'll be making from that diamond? That diamond creates an income of $10,000 for you every month. $10,000 from one diamond on your front line. Now, I'm not talking a brand new diamond. We all know that when you first hit a rank, you aren't making as much. I'm talking a really solid diamond, maybe $300,000 to $500,000 of volume. You are going to be making $10,000 from that diamond. But what if, in fact, I don't like that. I'm going to put it over here, 10, okay? What if your diamond is on your second leg? This person didn't build, and this is now your diamond. Your diamond is awesome and solid. You did all this work with them, and they're on your second level. Do you know what your income is? It actually goes down by 45%. 45%, which means you're going to be making about $5,500, almost half of what you would have made. Same amount of time, same amount of effort, same amount of investment. You have spent just as much money. You've traveled just as much. You've taught just as many classes. And now you're making almost half what you would have been making. What if Your diamond is on your third level. It goes down by 45% again. 45%. I'll put that over here. 45%, which means that a diamond on your third level is going to be making you what? I'm going to average it. It's around $2,700 a month. Okay? $2,700, same amount of time, same amount of effort. And you spent just as much money. And think of all the things you do to build doTERRA. It's fun. You're helping people. It's amazing. But there are ups and downs, and there are hard things. You go through all the same stuff, and you're making $2,700 a month instead. What if you go down to your fourth level? Again, every single level, it goes down 45%. Every level. That means, what is that? Roger, he's better at math than me. What's 45% of 2,700? I think it's like 1,700. I'll say about 1,700. Okay, what if you get down? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth level. How many of you watching have people on your fifth level? That's okay, but this happens all the time. All the time. So now you're in the hundreds. What is that, like 900. Now you're at, like, we'll say 850. Now, if it's on your sixth level, then what? Sixth level, you're making just hundreds of dollars a month off the same amount. Roger's saying, tell people to type their questions, not raise their hand. Okay, so when you have questions, don't raise your hand. Sorry if you've already done that. Just type your questions and they'll get them to me so I can answer them. So you're making hundreds of dollars, same amount of time, same effort, same investment. So there might be a situation where you need to have somebody on that level because of something that happens on your team. But for the most part, is this what you want? No. Presidential diamonds are making on average about $110,000 a month. That's crazy, crazy money. Well, guess what? We've been doing it a long time. Ours is way bigger than that. But guess what? If you have 6, in fact, I'm going to go to another page. No, I'm not. I want you to be able to see it here. 6. If you've got 6, 5, 6. If you're making $10,000 off of every single platinum diamond, let's say you have diamonds on your front line, you're making how much? That's $60,000. The bonus for doTERRA Presidential is around $30,000. So you're doing plus $30,000 for the bonus. Now you're at 90, and then you add all the other bonuses, the fast starts, the power of 3, and you might even have 2 powers of 3, all that stuff. Look at what happens. Now do you see why you can be at $110,000 a month? You can be at 110 at Presidential. But if, let's say you build to Presidential and you've got people on your 5th level, now you're making $50,000 a month as a Presidential, or $30,000 a month, or whatever it is. Okay, now let me show you, and I like to be very careful about this because when I share this part of the training, a lot of people say, oh, that I know who you're talking about on your team. Well, actually, you guys, we have millions of people on our team. There are more than one set of people in this circumstance, and I use different situations all the time. I am telling you, this happens in so many places on my team. So I'll share with you what has happened. And I'll use 2 females, okay? I had 2 girls on my team. They both were trained at the same time. They were down in my team. I had, ranks and whatever. They were down here in my team somewhere. They were on the same level. They were taught at the same time. I taught them, and I taught their upline. I taught my downline, which was their upline. We taught them how to do placements properly. I had taught them. My leader taught these leaders, and one of them, and there were several leaders that we were working with on that team, okay? Had all these leaders. And this leader, we'll call her Michelle. Michelle did the placements the way we taught her to do it because all the training was the same. They were doing the exact same thing. Michelle followed the training that we taught her to do with placements. And this person, we'll call her Katie. Katie started doing some other things. And I'll tell you, she actually did some of the go lower. She did some of that. And she did some of the 2x2 in some of her placements, which again, not always a bad thing. But this person kept doing it this way. And we kept telling her, stop doing that. You've got to do it this way. There are consequences and there are things that are going to happen. And this is what happened because Katie was earlier in her, they were both earlier in their chess game. And Katie wanted to do it her way, and that's okay. But what happened was she didn't understand the chess moves later on and what was going to happen. So she was making a lot of money because guess what? She had a lot of people down on her 5th and 6th and 7th level. And the way that I'm going to teach you doesn't get you down there quite as fast, but it'll still get you there pretty quickly. But Michelle was doing it the way that we taught, which is not this. And so by the time that as they grew and grew, Katie was making more money than Michelle and all these leaders. Katie was making way more. And they said, no, I'm not going to stop doing this because I'm making more money than all this. All these people who are doing it the way you're teaching them. But guess what happened? We told her, we said, look, that's going to happen for a year or two. For a year or two, you are going to make bank and you are going to kill it. But after that, there are going to start to be some consequences, and you're going to have to start dealing with things that are going to change. It's going to totally change massively. Well, she felt good about what she was doing, which is great. And now, years and years later, they both have the same amount of volume within thousands of dollars of each other. They actually are, I won't tell you how many, but they have millions and millions of volume. And again, almost exactly the same amount of volume. They've been in the same amount of time. Well, guess what happened? Michelle, let me tell you what their paychecks are. Katie is making about $30,000 a month. $30,000 a month. That's huge. How many of you guys would wish you were making that much every month? Yeah, I'm sure. If you're not already making that much, you're wishing you were. That is awesome. We're not going to cry for Katie. Katie's doing great. But guess what Michelle's paycheck is? Every single month, $140,000 a month. $140,000 because she placed the way that we taught. So what happens is you can have people, somebody might hit presidential in a year, they might hit presidential in 2 years, and they're thinking, this is how I did it. Look, it works, it's awesome. But they don't realize this. And that's just one piece. That's just one piece. We haven't even talked yet about some of the problems that you can have on your team, which is what we'll talk about next time, okay? So one other thing I want to share you. Chelsea and Jake, are you guys getting questions yet?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they're getting questions. Okay. I'm going to say there's a piece of dynamic compression that most people don't totally understand in doTERRA. I'm going to teach you that a little bit. I'm not going to go into great detail. I'll do it next time at the beginning because it will help you understand even more why something like this can happen. And it's huge. Okay. So, Roger, why don't you go ahead and tell me some of the questions that we're having? We're going to start answering questions. And I don't think I told you this at the beginning. My plan is that I'm leaving an hour and a half for this meeting every week. An hour and a half. If we cover things faster, great. But people always have a ton of questions and we can never get to all the questions. So I'm proud of myself that right about 8 o'clock, I am getting to questions. But guess why? It's because we have 7 weeks. So, okay, question.
Build for rank or power of 3?
Okay, build for rank or build for power of 3? I love that question because we get it all the time. That means a lot of you are going to want to know this. If you are trying to build, and this is probably, I don't know, most of the questions I'll try not to take too much time on, but this one is a big one and everybody asks it. What should you be placing for? Because there's this big debate. Well, I think you should place for rank. You should be placing for rank. Some people say place for power of 3. The people who say place for power of 3, it's because they say if you place for power of 3, then you're setting up your structure perfectly so that you will rank. So that's great. You're setting it up that way. But guess what? I have a lot of people who they would place for power of 3. Jessie Reimers is one who will teach you about this. You try to place for power of 3, which is what she did at the beginning, and she realized that there were a lot of holes and a lot of problems that she had later because she focused on wide instead of focusing on deep, and there are things that come up about that. So she's right. She's right. You don't focus, you don't place for power of 3. Now the reality is, if you're placing for rank, in fact, I was having a conversation with one of my huge leaders today that is one that knows placements. She said, ultimately, if you're placing for rank, you're still placing for power of 3. I guess I should do PO3. They're kind of the same thing. And she's right. They're the same thing, but I will qualify that because if you place for rank, there are different decisions you will make. So even though, I mean, you're ultimately placing for rank on either of those, I understand that there are some differences. If you're placing for power of 3, that might incentivize you. If you've got, let's say, here's you've got a couple of sharers right here, and you had a class, you got a couple of sharers, you're trying to be nice, you're trying to behave and not start a leg that isn't a builder, and you're placing people here, and then somebody has a class, and you have somebody who loves the oils, and they have a clinic, they don't want to build, but you know they're probably going to order every single month. What are you going to do if you're placing for power of 3? You're going to put them right here. They're not a builder. And so that's how you might place differently rather than trying to hit rank. But if you're placing for rank in that same situation, let's say you don't have anybody here, you've got your 2, now you've got a clinic, what are you going to do if you're placing for rank? You're going to be trying to hit premier, prepping for silver, right? You don't want someone who's not a builder on your front line, but guess what you're going to do? You're probably going to put it underneath here somewhere. And a lot of people, if you're placing just for the income, you might try to place it closer down on a line like this because you want it down on your 6th or 7th level because they're going to order a lot every month. You guys, I have Bellagio. I have, what do you call it? Like I have tons of Hilton hotels on my team who buy oils for their massage centers and their spa center. Pardon me. I have MGM Brand. These people are on my team. So it's tempting to go, wow, they have to order $3,000 every month or $5,000 every month. Let's put them on level 7 because we make more money. So if you're placing for rank, you might place differently than if you're placing for power of 3. That's why I love this question. That's why it is a question. That's why people don't understand. You're actually not placing for either. If you place for either of these, you are still, if you place for these and you do it properly, the best possible way, what's going to happen is you'll eliminate a lot of the problems that you could have, and you'll have a much better structure than a lot of people have who don't understand how to place properly for this. But if you place properly for this, you'll still be at about probably, this is just me throwing out based on my experience, I would say that you'd be at about a 50% level of not having the consequences. So you've eliminated a lot of consequences. Maybe you'd be at 60%. So you're only going to have 40% of the problems that a lot of people have. But what if what I can teach you can change it to 90%, 95%, so that you know how to place for this? So if you don't know what your goal is, you don't know how to place. So what is your goal? Your goal is you place, I'm going to write it because it's so powerful. You place for time freedom. Time freedom. I want you to see that up there because it is so powerful. Time freedom, and of course that will bring, if you do that. And now, let me clarify something. People say, well, do for time freedom, you're not placing for rank. That's not true. You are placing for time freedom, but then you are, of course, focusing on hitting rank, hitting power of 3. I would err on the side of rank before I would err on the side of the power of 3. But again, we'll go over a lot of those with your questions and stuff like that. Roger saying, go to the next question. I'm almost done. This is one that I'm going to take a little more time on. So time freedom and financial freedom. Okay. Now, why is time freedom the key? Because look at how you'll place if you are placing for time freedom. Time freedom, if you have somebody here, you've got 10 people who just enrolled. Let's say you have 10 people enrolled because you had a few classes and you don't know anything more yet, the stuff that I will teach you, you don't know any of that yet. So you say, well, I better pick the person. If you're placing for time frame, what are you going to do? You're going to put the person who has the most chance of building, or if you'll probably have a couple of sharers, you'll place the one that you think will probably be the strongest, you'll place them here. Now, if you're placing for time freedom, are you now going to place for power of 3? Are you going to try to get some people who are sharers or customers up here? No way. No way, because you know that you're going to be doing all that work. If you're placing for time freedom, guess what you're going to do? You're going to structure this in such a way that this person's taking care of this one as much as possible. This person's taking care of this one. This person's taking care of this one. This person's taking care of this one. And by the way, you're not going to structure it down low, because if somebody does start to build, you keep in mind the whole financial thing. You want financial freedom. You don't want to do the same amount of work for way less pay, right? So I will show you how to do that too, but you are placing for time freedom. And again, we've got 7 weeks. I'll show you how to do that. If I answer your question and it's not clear, ask more, but I'm gonna go to the next question.
If you did the placeholder idea and the holder grandma mom passed away, what would happen?
Oh, that's a good question. If you didn't do the placeholder because you already did it, you guys believe all that and you just do it, well, I'll teach you a better way, a way better way that you're gonna love. But again, there's always an exception where there's a reason you might use one of these strategies that I've shown you. And there, sometimes for some of those strategies, there are more examples, but this is what happens. If you're here, here's grandma. I'll just put Gma, okay? And she passes away. This team, whatever you've done to build this team, because I can guarantee you grandma wasn't building it, you were doing it by yourself, which you can guess I'm already like harping on that a little bit. But you've got this team under here. Grandma passes away. Grandma owns that spot. It is now part of her estate or her trust or however she had that set up. So in your will, for example, my spot, every single one of you, our spot, we own it. This is our business. It's mine. So we have trusts written up and LLCs and stuff set up so that we know exactly what's going to happen with this. Nobody ever gets to take away my spot. That money goes into our estate, and however we've decided to divvy up that estate, then that's where that money's going to go. If you don't have a trust set up, then you know how that works. The government takes a much higher percentage in most countries of what's there. Now, there are pros and cons to having a ghost spot or a placeholder. This is one. A lot of times people do use grandma or somebody so old that they know it's not going to be a problem later. Because I'll tell you one of the cons, and we'll cover more detail later, one of the cons of a placeholder is that person can decide not to sign it over. And that does happen quite frequently. They start to see the growth, they like it, they don't want to move. Sometimes they turn into a builder, but you don't place on the hope of what someone might do. Never, never do that, okay? Sometimes we have to make our best educated guess, but there are a lot of things you can do to have a more educated decision. But, so grandma, if that spot is still there, whoever gets all of her estate, that is the person who now owns this spot. So let's say grandma had 5 kids and she has her estate split up between all 5 kids. Now guess what? All 5 kids, she might have it set up so all 5 kids are now owner of that spot. Now guess what? In order for you to do anything with that spot, what do you have to do? You have to get the signature of all 5 kids. They have to agree to do what you would like them to do, and you have no idea what they're going to choose. Now, if grandma, let's say grandma passes away and nobody's ordering, nobody knows about the spot, and it kind of, there's no order. There's no order. If somebody hasn't ordered for 6 months, if this spot has not ordered for 6 months, then grandma would have to write an email to doTERRA and say, I would like to move, or I'd like to have my spot be deleted. She can't because she passed away, right? But if nothing is done, then after a full year of no orders on that account, then what happens is it disappears. It disappears, it's moved out, that spot is completely gone, and these people will move up, okay? So all of these people are now on your front line. And if they're all on your front line, now you've either got 3 what you can call placeholders who may or may not sign things over, but you've now got either 3 teams that you've got to build yourself, or hope that somebody's going to build, or you have wasted volume. You have 3 people on your front line, and whatever other legs you have that are building, none of those count toward any of that volume.
Probably the executor of the estate could write the email to transfer.
Yes, good point. He says the executor of the estate could write an email in grandma's behalf. Well, now it is in his behalf to cancel that membership or whatever. So that could happen. But you can see this is why it's not a top choice, because there are a lot of pitfalls that you could come across, and we've seen them all probably. Okay. Next question.
What do you mean sell her spot? Literally sell the spot?
Literally sell the spot. Our spot right now is worth millions and millions of dollars. We could sell our spot if we said, hey, we didn't want to do doTERRA. That almost feels like sacrilege because I love doTERRA and love helping people. I would never do that. I've even told my kids, if anything happens to us, you are not allowed to sell that. I work so hard and I love those people. So what happens is, wait, what was the question? I got all excited about my kids. Oops, Roger, I need your help. I just made that go down. That's okay. It'll work for right now. So yes, you sell the spot. So, and usually what happens is depending on how solid the spot is. So this is probably a horrible thing to tell you because it's very, very subjective. But the general rule is it might be if the spot is fairly solid, you know what I mean? It might kind of stay at silver, but somebody would have to do some stuff with it. It's usually the value might be about 3 times what they're making. So if they make X amount in a year, then the spot might sell for about 3 times that much. Now, that is maybe high end. Sometimes it will sell for twice as much, okay? Because it's not going to maintain. And if you have a spot that somebody's propping all the time and it's a silver, it's not going to sell for nearly that much. It will be worth way less than that. But you own this. This is like if you own a house, it's yours. You can sell it to someone else who can now own it and you get the money. That's exactly what I mean. It's cool, really cool. Okay, next question.
Next question on your flip to the diamond page with different diamonds going down in the rank.
Okay, let's see, go ahead. This one?
This is assuming that they lower in the pay because each person is at least a silver in that tree. Oh,
that's a good question. So I'm gonna clarify this for some people who don't understand what they're asking. So say the question again. They're saying this is assuming
the 45% reduction in
yes.
diamond being down each level is assuming that every person in between is at least a rank of silver.
Yes, and the reason they're asking this, can you guys hear his question when he asks it? Okay.
And they said the Facebook Live stopped. So.
Oh no, the Facebook Live stopped. Bummer. Well, you guys, for those of you on the webinar jam, that Facebook Live has not stopped for me, so I will post it. Hopefully it should still record, and then I can post it and you'll be able to access it on the Facebook Live page too. All right. So yes, they're asking, let me tell you why they're asking this question. And this is something I'll help you understand when we talk about dynamic compression. What happens, what percent are you getting paid on this level? 2%, right? You're getting paid 3% on your next level, 3% on your 5% on your next level, 5, and it goes down to 7% down here. You're getting paid 7% on your lowest level. You get paid 7 levels down. But what happens if you have somebody who's elite right here? If this person isn't diamond and they're elite, then they only get paid a certain number of levels. They don't get paid all 7 levels. Those extra levels have to go somewhere. The elite gets 5 levels, right, Raj?
Yeah.
I start throwing out numbers, and then I want to make sure I'm not saying it wrong. So the elite gets paid 5 levels down. So there's a level 6 and a level 7 under the elite that nobody's getting. Well, guess who's going to get it? The next silver. So if this person is elite, and then we've got levels down here. If this person is silver, they will get it. Okay, you're not going to get those 2 extra levels. So this person not only gets their 7 levels, they also get paid 2 extra levels on this person's leg because this person doesn't qualify to get them. Well, what if this person was elite also? If this was elite, then guess what? Now you're going to get paid. This person only gets 5 levels. This person only gets 5 levels. Now you're going to get paid your 7 levels plus level 6 and 7 of this person, which by the way are some of the highest volume. And you're going to get paid level 6 and 7 of this person also. That can be huge. So one thing that so hopefully it's not too confusing. We'll be going over this a little bit more in detail later too. But what happens is a lot of times people will, let me show you like this. You see how this is like a chess game and why it's like a chess game. A lot of times people will say, build down low like this. And guess what? These people will never, you know, if they're not a builder, if they're not a builder, if they're not a builder, and here's your builder. Sorry, I shouldn't be so sassy because I don't mean it like it's dumb. I'm just trying to show you what happens. People don't realize. I gotta not be sassy, sorry. So I just don't want you to have this pain, okay? So this is what happens. This becomes your builder. I'll put B for builder. Now, what this person is thinking, what you are thinking is, well, those people aren't building. So this person gets huge, and guess what? These people would get paid on 7 levels. They would get paid on 7, 7, 7, but because this person isn't even building, they're not even elite. They're just what do you call it? Distributor? No, no. I don't want them to be elite. I don't want them to be elite. What if they're just what's the first thing? Manager.
At the beginning, they'll be manager.
Yeah, manager. We're always dealing in helping people hit elite. So I'm like, I don't even know if I have those other ones memorized. So manager, this person's a manager, this person's a manager. They just order every month. They just order, this person's a manager. This is what people think. They think this is why this is so good, because if this person's only a manager, they don't get paid on all these levels. So you're going to get paid on what? You're going to get paid on all 6 levels below this person. And you're going to, so you get your 7 plus these, plus all these, plus all these. The manager doesn't get paid. Yeah, the question's elite. I'll cover that too. But I mean, I already covered that, didn't I? I already covered that, but I'll show you.
No, those, as soon as the builder starts to build, that person will be elite. That's what.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. But let's just say this was a manager, because I have seen people who think this. They think, well, they're managers, so guess what? I'm going to get paid on all these levels. But what they don't realize, and this is usually for newer people, what they don't realize is, as soon as this person hits elite, if they're elite, what is this person? Elite. They're at least elite because they have $3,000 volume from this person. This person's elite, this person's elite. So everybody will now be elite. So do you see why that's a problem? Sometimes when people don't understand when they're at the beginning. Now, then can you imagine if you did this and then you go, oh my gosh, all these people are now elite. So I thought I was going to get paid on all their levels, but really what happens is I'm only going to get paid on the 2 extra levels, 1, 2, 1, 2, because this person gets paid on 5 levels, this person gets paid on 5 levels. So back to your question, does this volume, the $10,000, thank you, Roger, you showed me the time, this one, the $10,000 for this, and you're getting $5,500, it goes down 45%. This is not even counting this stuff. This is assuming that you're not getting paid extra levels on anybody, okay? So this...
Just to be super clear, if each of those people are silver, then it goes down by 45%. If each of those people are elite, it will not go down by 45%. It'll go down by less than 45%.
It'll go down by less than 45%. I don't know that exact number. We should figure that out. That would be a good thing. We like to figure out the numbers. So so you might make a little bit more than that. Okay. So yes, that's a good qualification. And the problem that I see too is that I have a lot of people on my team where I built improperly and maybe did some of this stuff. And what happens is this person hits elite and they start going, oh, what's going on? And a lot of times if this is happening, a lot of people do a class. So a lot of people will have a second leg. Sometimes that second leg takes off, then they're hitting premier, and guess what happens? A lot of times people in these positions will go, oh my goodness. They'll start looking into a little bit, and not always, but they'll go, you'll get some, a good percentage who will say, oh my goodness, if I just get to silver, then they'll get to silver. They'll take away all that extra volume from all the work that you did, because if you did this, they're already elite in that leg. Let's say they had a couple of classes and they had somebody who builds a little bit and they've got another elite. All they have to do is build one elite leg, and now they take away a bunch of volume from what you would have been paid because of all the work you did helping this person build. Now, again, we're all about helping everybody on our team, and I'll show you how to do that. But again, there's a way you can do that. Okay, next question.
Next question. What if you have that situation and you've got a bunch of elites in the middle? How do you move that diamond up to your front line, or can you?
Ah, that is a good question. Can you guys still, Chelsea and Jake, let me know if you ever can't hear Roger's question, okay? But that's a really good question because that is something we're going to cover in the strategies to fix your problems. Because a lot of you are already seeing some things on your team going, well, is there a way to fix it? Yes, 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 there are ways to fix it. There are some ways that are easier than others. There are some ways that are more time consuming than others. And there are some ways that could really damage relationships with those people. So it's not worth it. So I'm going to show you what those are. I'm going to show you how to do it. And I'm going to give you scripts and teach you how to talk to them and what to say. And I'm even going to teach you when you better never be saying a word to them. You better get your upline presidential diamond to talk to them to make sure that you don't blow it. Because lots of relationships have been damaged trying to make some of those changes. So we'll cover that more later. Sorry to pass that one off to a later class.
Okay, if you're just starting, if you only have one builder on your front line, this is you and one builder, don't you have to put all the customers under that one builder?
Yes, yes. And I love what you said, because if this is you and you only have one builder, good for you. I'm so excited because what a lot of people say is I don't have any builders. So I just have to start putting them somewhere. And in one of the trainings, you know the 3 in the middle where I talk about how we're going to show how to fix the problems. One of those trainings, I'm actually going to start from scratch. So if you're starting from scratch, I'm going to show you exactly how to structure. Okay. So I will leave that for that class because I'm going to go in detail. In our classes for placements, I have never had time to just go and show. So I'm excited about that because we're leaving tons of time for that. But I am happy for you that you have a builder. This is a builder. And by the way, I'm going to tell you what you're looking for in a builder next class. That's one of the first things I'll talk about too. But you've got your builder. Yes, you do want to put everybody under there because I'll tell you what, I even have some of my biggest leaders say, Teresa, this is what I say. And I don't even know if you agree with this. I absolutely agree. And I'll tell you the people who are the best at placements in doTERRA say this same thing. This is what happens. If you have a builder, everybody does. You want everyone to go under here. And if you have a second builder, fine. Then put your second builder and start putting some of them under there as well. And again, I'll show you exactly how to do that in later training. But if you have only one builder, do not start a second leg. And for those of you who love to build to Premier, just keep your mind open for a minute until you see the reasons why and the consequences. Now, I'm telling you, it is better to wait 6 months to find a new builder before you start a second leg. I promise you, it's better to wait. Now, once I teach you how to recruit, you'll be able to find a builder fast. Fast, easy. I'm not kidding you. So if you really weren't afraid of not finding a builder, would you put a second leg here that was not a builder, that was a sharer? No way. No way, not in a million years. Elise Chedevy would never do that. I would never do that. Molly Dayton would never do that. And I will promise you the Goddards would never do that. Never. They would never put someone here who is not a builder. That, in network marketing, they call this $1 million real estate. I'm not kidding you. That is $1 million real estate. And there's a way you can test people to discover who should be in that spot. And I'll show you. It's super easy, super simple. But good for you. Sounds like that is kind of what you're thinking. Keep everybody in that leg. Yes. Do not put anybody else on a new leg until you find a new builder. Okay. And again, show you more details. And the other thing I will tell you right now, when you are placing people under here, a lot of people will say, once you get to your 4th or 5th level, then put all as wholesale customers. Well, most of the time it's good to sign people up as a wholesale customer when you don't know what they're going to do. There's actually a situation where that will not be the best thing, and I'll show you what that is when we get to that part. But if you do this, guess what happens? Let's say you put all these wholesale customers here because you thought that was a good idea. What happens if this is you? If this is you and you weren't going to build, and all of a sudden you decide to build 3 years later? Look at your mess. Look at the mess that they created for you. And once you understand how to place and you're getting better at it and you're growing your team, you're going to go, why did you guys do that? And the reality is, I think people are doing it because they know this person's not building. They've got to put them somewhere. They want to make sure the volume counts. And this is the best option that they know of. And so they're like, well, this person isn't building. They're lucky they get people under them anyway. And when they build, it's not going to hurt them to start a business builder and go from there. That kind of thing. And of course, then these people can switch from wholesale customer to something else and put them under there. And so but I would recommend that what you do, and I'll show you, I promise, we'll go over more detail exactly where to place people and why. And there will always be exceptions to the rule, and we'll go over those too. But when you place, pretend like each person is you. If I don't care if I'm up here. If I'm up here and I'm helping my builder, and we've got some leaders down here, and I don't need any new frontline people because I've got enough new frontline, then guess what's going to happen? If I enroll people, I got to put them somewhere. I'm going to put them under here, but I am not going to do it like this because I know what I'm setting them up for. It might work for me. And in fact, 1, 2, 3, actually, you might want to do that on your 4th level. There is no reason ever to put anybody under your 4th level unless, exception to the rule, you're enrolling so many people, they've got to go somewhere. And some of you are going, yeah, that's not my problem. Well, some people do have that problem. And so we're going to cover it all. But I won't do that. I pretend like this person is me. If this is me, and I'm saying I look at this, if I'm going to put anybody under this person, I'm going to go, if this was me, how would I structure it so that I'm setting it up perfectly for the future? Because if you do that, and you're placing for them for time freedom as if this is you, guess what? You're going to get yourself in a much more stable position with your team. You're going to be making more money in the long run, and you have set them up. Guess what? You guys, our team is over 70% of doTERRA. The reason I point that out is not because I'm so amazing. You guys know, those of you who are on our team, it's because of you. It's because of everyone working together. There's no way we did that by ourselves. But 70%, you guys, 70%. And how many people? I have such a high percentage of people who end up later deciding they want to build. Don't set them up like this. If there's a better way, let's do it the better way. And I'll show you what that is.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes left. Okay. I'm going to fire through some questions. We're just going to answer them really quickly, okay? First question, a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
Okay.
Next time, do we have to pull an all-nighter again?
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yes. You guys, I'm in China. I'm trying to do my best.
And sorry to the people on the East Coast.
Yeah, and I will tell you this. You are also why I am making this available for. And I'm so sorry. I love you. You guys deserve a prize. Maybe I will think of a prize I can give you. Okay.
If the person that dies and we're trying to transfer that spot or sell that spot, does that process have to go through the exceptions committee? Yes or no?
Okay. Does this person have to go through the exceptions committee? If there's a signature. Well, if they haven't purchased for 6 months and the executor of the will signs the thing, no, doesn't have to go through exception. It's not an exception. You just get that. Well, that's a lie.
But if it's going
6 months, it is an exception. If it's a year, there's no exception. You just get it. But if it's
being sold, it has to go through the exceptions.
Yes, if it's being sold, you make doTERRA a part of that process. But wait a minute. It's not like, because grandma owns that spot. Now the executor owns that spot. The executor can do whatever they want. They don't have to get doTERRA's permission. So let's be clear about that. It's not like they have to get doTERRA's okay to do whatever they want with that spot. The executor is the owner. If I sell my spot, this is me. If I sell this spot, or if I pass away and it goes to someone else, it goes to my son or something, then what? And my sons are going, yeah, which one? No. So what happens is, this is me, I die, and Roger's gone, then guess what? Whoever is the owner of this gets to act like the owner. They don't now have not as many privileges for that spot as I did. They own it. It is theirs. So if they want to sell it to someone, they can sell it to someone without, that is not an exception.
No, it does have to go through, because there are certain cases where you can't sell to certain people who have previously been in doTERRA or are currently in doTERRA at certain rank levels.
Yes.
So there are a few little rules.
But that is an exception. Yeah. If you're selling it straight across the board, there is no exception. You own it, it is yours. But he's totally right. If you're trying to sell it to someone who's been in doTERRA and you're trying to move someone from somewhere else into that spot, or they've been in the last, so many months, yes. Then if there are contingencies, it does go through exceptions. Okay,
last question for tonight. Last question, and this is a really important question. We might have to follow up with it next week, but you got a brand new builder. Okay. They've been in a few months, or maybe they're just starting out, and they enroll people. They enroll wholesale customers. They have to put them on their front line, but let's say they've got 4 wholesale customers on their front line. what happens now?
Okay, this is you. You've got 4 wholesale customers, no builders, no shares, nothing. Really good question. There's a way better way to handle this, which I will teach you, but I'm not going to do it right now. But let's just say if you didn't know anything else about placements, this is what you do. Now, I have to say, there's a better way, way better way, and I'll teach you that. But if that, I'm just going to answer your question. If there are 4 wholesale customers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a conversation with each of them. And I am not going to do it in a way that is, hey, do you want to build? Because I really am looking for a builder. I'm going to do the 3 pathways with them. If you do not know how to do the 3 pathways, you go find my video on 3 pathways. It will help you make this decision, and the decision will be 90% better if you do the 3 pathways correctly. It's a way of finding out how interested they really are. And I will tell you, of those 4 wholesale customers who don't want to build, I will guarantee if you do the 3 pathways right, you will find at least 2 or 3 people who at least want to be a sharer, and you will probably find a builder. May not, but very likely. The percentage shows that you will. So I would have that conversation with them. And even if they all say, let's just make it really hard, that none of us want to build, we just want to buy the oils, then from that conversation with them, which by the way is not about building, it's about, okay, let's figure out what you need, let me help you. It feels like that, okay? But by the time you're done, you know what they're thinking. And then I would pick the one that has the most likelihood of building or starting to do stuff. For example, if one of them wants to do a class and none of the other ones do, well, guess what? That's the one that's going on the front line. If none of them are going to do anything, I absolutely have to go by my gut. But we have that conversation, the 3 pathways, because you'll make a way better educated decision. And then you go, okay, of those 4, this one is definitely the one that is going to be the best.
And then you
choice
have
for the
to
front
get
line.
you have to get them to be a wellness advocate.
Yes, thank you. They have to become a wellness advocate, because otherwise, wholesale customers, you can't put them under each other. You just can't. Okay, and that's another reason why people will say on your 4th level, 1, 2, 3, whatever, on your 4th level, start putting all the wholesale customers, because they want to leave people as wholesale customers so that they can move them later. But I'm going to show you a better way to do this, that you can still have that option. But hopefully that answers your question okay.
Okay, so a lot of people are saying they want to do an all-nighter, but I don't think we're going to do that. But
how about if we do one more question?
So just what do you tell a new builder who hasn't placed anyone yet? What's the instructions you give that new builder on how to place?
I'll tell them this. Brand new builder hasn't placed anyone. I say, okay, we've got to hurry up and get you going on these trainings. The trainings that teach you what to do in your first 6 weeks. Because the first 2 weeks, you're going to prep for classes. This is what we do. We say, okay, we're all excited with them. We're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pick your launch week. Let's pick the week that you're going to launch your business. And by the way, those of you who've been in for a long time, this is one thing you can do too. And I work with presidential blues who come to me and say, I'm stuck. I don't know. Guess what we do? Okay, pick your launch week. We're going to pretend like you are starting brand new, fresh. For 2 weeks, they are going to prep and sample and do the things that get them ready for those classes. And that first launch week that they picked, it's got to be 2 to 3 weeks out. And the reason is because you don't want to place these people and now you have 14 days and they're frozen. So I'll answer this 2 ways, because maybe you already have people you have to place within the next 14 days. Then you hurry up and set up your launch week. But you've got to have 2 weeks to prep for those classes. But if you don't have 2 weeks because you already have people you've got to place, set them up as wholesale customers. Go ahead and put them underneath on your front line. This is horrible. I almost don't even want to say this out loud. But if you've already got 4 and you've got to put them somewhere before the 14 days is up, put them on your front line as wholesale customers. And this is temporary, temporary, temporary. This is not, you're going to wait until you find a builder. This is because you're setting your launch week right now. So 1 week, I don't care if you want to build slow or fast, that's okay. But for your launch week, you're going to do 4 classes, different times, different days, whatever. You're going to do 4 classes, set them up, and in the first 2 weeks, because you've got 2 weeks before that launch week starts, you are going to be recruiting people, sampling people exactly how I teach you to do it. And you will see you will get rear ends in those seats, and you will see a significant difference in what you do. And if you teach the class the way I teach you how to do it, by the time you're done, do you think in 4 classes, usually we have about 7 or 8 people at each class, in 4 classes, do you think you're likely to find a builder? The chances of you finding a builder are so high that you're going to have a builder by the time you do this. So please, please don't think that this means, well, she said you can put all your wellness advocates on your front line. If you do this, I will find you and I will kill. No, I won't. Just kidding. No, I am not saying that. I'm saying if you're already in a bind, then put them here, get your launch week on the calendar, and you better have it on the calendar by next week. Next week, you better have it on the calendar, and you have already found, well, I will have those videos posted within a week, okay? And I'll teach you exactly how to do it. Great, now I feel like I gotta get them posted tomorrow. We're finishing them up, yes.
A lot of pressure.
But I want you guys to have this. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for that, if you have people that you need to place, do this, because you will never ever have to wait to place the people where they need to go. Almost never. 90, 95% of the time. Okay? So Roger's saying,
we
stop.
love you.
Okay. Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you for joining me.
Tell them about questions if they have questions throughout the week.
Yes. If you have questions throughout the week, then, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm giving you special privileges, you people who stayed up all night. If you stayed up all night to watch this, then what I want you to do is you send your questions in and make a note that you stayed up all night, because I'm going to put preference on those questions next week.
To the Facebook group.
So put the questions on the Facebook group. We will answer those. Do they not want them to send it to that email? Ask Jake and Chelsea what, because they're the ones who will be handling those. So I will make sure I give preference to those. And thank you, you guys. I want to get the word out, because if this is stuff that will help people, and I'm excited for you to have your game plan. You've got your chessboard. Some of you have more pieces on the chessboard. Some of you are just beginning. Well, guess what? If you're just beginning, thank heaven, because now you can do this better than we did at the beginning. So I really love you guys. See you next week, and we'll get this posted so that you can see it. I guess hopefully the one on Facebook Live worked. We'll get the Webinar Jam one up as fast as possible so that you guys have a whole week to get people involved. Remember, last chance to get on and sign up to be involved at all is 24 hours before our next class. And I'm so sorry about the times. We tried to hit all the times across the globe as best we could. So sorry about that, guys. Hasta la vista.